detective thrill me.
Thanks for joining us. The Christmas episode, Jared. Finally, we got there. We aren't just ripping out any old shit that we can find.
Well, we are, but we're still...
But this one's Christmas related.
Christmas related, yeah.
Tonight we got Red One. 2024's Red One, The Rock. We have been shit-canning this movie for fucking 6 months. Right? So this is going to be... Like, this, they have to really lift their game, don't they? To get a fair score here.
Yes.
So it'll be interesting, I can tell you that much. I have watched absolutely nothing apart from a couple of cheesy Christmas movies with Mario Lopez, who's now the Prince of Christmas.
Fuck, we don't need to talk about that.
But I'll keep that
Get
to
off
myself.
Hallmark, you
It's
idiot.
not Hallmark.
Yes, it is. All of that stuff
it's
is Hallmark.
Lifetime.
You know they make those things in 2 weeks?
I know they do. Fuck. And you know what? I love it. So let's get off that. That's a different podcast.
No, that's not. No one needs to talk about that.
What are you on?
I started with Bliss.
Oh, yes.
Joe Begos movie, which I had there for a little bit. Yeah, kind of cool. I think it was another one where I liked the style more than the substance overall, but a cool little bit of work that he put together there. I then went on to one, Adam, that you had callously fucking dropped on me as a Christmas present a couple of years back, and I resisted
Cost
for
me
a long
$2.
time.
$2. I found it in the fucking bargain bin.
Yeah, I know you did. I watched Trading Paint. Johnny T on the, I don't know, is it a comeback trail?
It's on the
downhill slide.
That was that's during the downhill slide, because that was when he was making The Fanatic.
It was the same year.
He's having a very rough patch.
Yeah. Look, it was another 0 on Rotten Tomatoes, so I was expecting just absolute rubbish. It was bad, probably not as low tier as that. I know you see 0 on Rotten Tomatoes and you forget that's just no negative, no positive reviews.
Yeah.
But that can still be like a 2.5 movie that just nobody has decided, no, this is a 3.
Yeah,
I think that's probably fair.
And a movie like Trading Paint would probably only fucking garnered about 20 reviews or something. So it's not like it's like the current crop where you get 150 reviews, which is a pretty wide slab.
Yes.
To tell you where it's at.
Yeah. Another one in the Travolta's kind of mastery of accents.
The Hall of Accents.
He's doing a...
With John Travolta.
He's doing a southern accent for the whole movie.
John, just fucking get back to what you do best, mate.
It puts together like standard stuff that would have been okay. It would have worked. I mean, there was portions of it where I'm like, this is fucking cars in real with people. It's fucking Lightning McQueen and all this. But yeah, it's just super bland. And they've got like the racing is just, the racing might be the most boring part of the whole thing. And they've got these commentators that you never see. They've just decided to put them as voices over every race. And it just doesn't work.
Let me say this about Travolta too. When you mention Trading Paint and Johnny T, I was looking at the fact that
you laughed, and then you came back to me and said,
I initially laughed because I was, I couldn't wait to hear what it was like.
You can take it back,
but I won't be taking it. You can throw it out.
Oh, that's right. You probably bought your own copy for $2.
And I was looking at. I had a quick look at his filmography, and I was kind of like, this guy has just, he's now in the sort of that phase where they've kind of crested, and then it's just into mediocrity.
Yeah.
And John's been there before. Before Pulp Fiction. But I looked through the resume a little bit, and I was like, you know what? There was a couple of movies in there where I watched the bloke, and I was just like, this guy's fucking, when he's on, he's really good.
Yeah.
Pulp Fiction's one of them. Fucking even The General's Daughter, which is not a great movie.
Chewing Scenery and Broken Arrow.
Yeah, Broken Arrow. Like, he knew at that stage that this is what works.
Yeah.
And he works well in those movies.
But I think, like, I don't know, it must be more financially beneficial to these people to
just whip out cheap shit,
their own cheap movies, rather than just, because there's still directors that would jump at having Travolta in a fucking 5-minute, 10-minute role in a movie somewhere, isn't there?
You would think so.
Surely. So I don't know. It's kind of funny to see that.
Well, they can probably pocket 3 to 4 million or something.
Yeah.
On some of these cheaper films.
Yeah.
And take up the bulk of the budget.
Yeah, that's right. And they've got the chance to work with Robert Bronzy. So I think
who wouldn't want that?
I've got. So after Trading Paint, I went back to one of our old favourites, Adam. I watched El Mariachi, Desperado, and Once Upon a Time in Mexico.
Yeah.
El Mariachi's really cool because I actually watched it with the commentary, and the commentary is Robert Rodriguez talking non-stop about how he got it done for $7,000.
$7,000.
He made it for $7,000, and he's consistently saying, "I thought this was going straight to video on the Spanish market. Like nobody was going to see this." So I was cutting every corner. I was doing this and that, talking about how many favors he called in, talking about how he'd get people in for like a couple of hours and then piss them off before lunch because if they stayed for lunch, he'd have to pay them and feed them and stuff like this. But yeah, it's fucking awesome. Like. The movie I actually quite like. I like the story. It's super simple, but it's a really fun way to just get a cheesy actioner out there.
Yeah.
It's just I really like Robert Rodriguez as a director, and I think that's his biggest strength. He's creative with these kind of fairly straightforward ideas. He's a creative filmmaker. He makes exciting stuff. So yeah, it was really cool to have that. Then we got to Desperado, which is obviously pretty much the same thing with money.
With a much bigger budget, yeah.
I still love that. I think
movie. Desperado's excellent.
It's really cool.
Yeah.
Once Upon a Time in Mexico, I enjoyed it, but it seemed like it just kind of put too many sort of cogs in the machine a little bit.
Yeah.
It's still got moments of like that fucking scene where they're Salma Hayek and Antonio Banderas are chained together and they're leaping out a window and they fucking get stuck like hanging from a bar and then they got to swing to the next one. That stuff's awesome. It's got a hint of the old sort of Indiana Jones style stuff, exciting kind of filmmaking. But the movie overall is definitely the worst out of the three. But it was fun to go back and revisit those ones. Hot Fuzz, had not watched in years.
Yeah,
fuck, it's good, isn't it?
Yeah, it's good.
It's really good.
It's really
it's
good.
Funny. It's when
even
they do
the action stuff's good.
Well, they do the action stuff really well, but tossing in some of that classic sort of British humour, like the dry wit and all that sort of shit. And District 9 was another one that I touched back
District 9, good movie.
Love it. I love it. I mean, Sharlto Copley, to me, does not get enough fucking roles.
No, he doesn't.
He is... Like when he's walking around initially and he's walking around District 9 trying to get everyone, and he's been promoted into this role and they've got him kind of talking back and forth with his co-workers. He's fucking piss funny. He's funny, but he also embodies that, this guy's kind of been promoted above his level. He's a bit of a dick. He's got some level of competency, but maybe not as high as this. But then he switches pretty well, and when it starts to get a bit dramatic and a bit heavy, he switches pretty well in that stuff.
I mean, I remember the A-Team. And thinking, that guy, that's what, I mean, fuck, that casting is fantastic.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen him in a movie and gone, not great. I think every time I've seen him, even when he's in movies that I don't think are good,
he's still pretty solid.
Yeah. And the last one was Monkey Man. Like, he was in Monkey Man. Like, he was really cool in that. Like, that was another one where I really liked Monkey Man, but he was in it for fucking 5 minutes maybe. And he was awesome. Again, he was awesome.
I got to see Monkey Man. It's on Binge, I think, at the moment, so I better check it out.
Started to hit the streaming services. I think you would like that. And the last one, Adam, well, I watched it earlier in the week, but I held it over for last because I think it's relevant to this. I went back to Pain and Gain.
We messaged back and forth, and I said, that fucking movie is much better than... It's fantastic.
Excellent. Him, Mark Wahlberg and The Rock, especially, are really good.
Yes.
And they kind of play it perfectly. Like, Wahlberg's... he's kind of at fever pitch the whole movie.
It's funny though.
Yeah.
When they are putting together their plan of what they're doing, and remember they talk about how, but with our most people would do this in 25 seconds, but with our fucking bodybuilding and Navy SEAL skills, we'll do it in 20 seconds.
With our superior athletic ability, we'll do it. Yeah. And I love when they cut to that, and The Rock's going, he's a genius. Like in his head, he's talking about he's a genius and all this sort of shit. And they consistently show him turning up. They're like, fuck, he's got a party going on. Abort mission. And fucking piss it off. And like, I completely understand the concerns that the real people involved had about kind of lampooning a situation where people lost their lives.
Absolutely.
But
there was no other way to go.
No,
it's so
I think for the movie, when you kind of separate it and say, right, it's Michael Bay saw this and saw this scenario, and what happened in real life sounds like a perfect fit for my abilities.
Yes,
and it sounds funny. I mean, I'm not gonna I remember reading the Sun Jim Gang stories. Sorry, and you laughed when you read the article sometimes.
Yes.
Even though the end results were pretty horrific.
Were very horrific.
I don't think,
But there's no way to go anywhere else, in my opinion. You couldn't make that straight.
No, you couldn't.
Because it's not straight. It's so outrageous.
Yeah. And I think they had issues with, they make them likeable. They're not likeable.
No.
Wahlberg is a dickhead the entire movie.
The three of them.
But it's hard not to laugh at the scenarios they put together.
And it's because they kind of play that almost like... not spoofish, but like that sequence where they dress up in their fucking scrubs. And go wandering into the hospital. Yeah. And the bloke says, "Why are you in your scrubs?" And Wahlberg goes, "I'm just prepared for you." It stops and it says, "Nailed it."
Yeah.
It's like you couldn't take this shit seriously.
No. So when I kind of remove that, it's a very good movie. And Wahlberg and The Rock
it fits
are
Bay's style,
yes,
really well.
And I think it's as good as The Rock's been.
Absolutely,
in a movie, no question.
Absolutely, I think he's that's where we saw a bit of performance from him.
Yeah.
And yes, it's hyper over the top, and all that, but you see a different side to him you little bit. And look, it certainly helps when you've got other actors where you're bouncing off them.
He plays someone who's not the fucking king shit at everything.
Yeah, he's not the
beast. He plays a guy
in fact,
who's
he's
an
a fucking
absolute
idiot.
Beast. Yeah, he's a beast, but he's an idiot, and he's caught between this. I want to be a good person and go to church, but I'm addicted to cocaine and stuff like. He plays it really well.
It feels like, again, you put him in a sort of an ensemble piece.
Yeah.
And the three of them, Anthony Mackie included, they work well off each other. I think that's part of the reason why those performances are really good.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because you've got the three of them just working at the fucking top of their game.
Yep.
And hitting the kind of shit that they were kind of all... Like, Wahlberg's always been known for that fucking hair trigger shit. Intensity, and it's just dialed up to the fucking max.
Well, that's the thing. He's also been, sometimes had the piss taken out of him for how he delivers lines and they sound dumb and stuff like that. Well, perfect, because that's what they did. They did sound dumb in this because the guy did some stupid things.
Yes. But it's a really good movie.
It is.
It doesn't get the kudos I think it probably deserves.
Yeah.
A little bit more than it should.
Yep.
Ed Harris, a nice little fucking Ed Harris in the background as well.
I couldn't stop laughing at the end too when they go back to fucking Home Depot with the chainsaw. I'm like, this piece of shit stopped working. And she's like, there's fur in it. Or they've got the hair stuck in there. She's like, are you telling me you can't see that fur? And then he's like, oh, fuck this. We'll just go and choose another one. It's just blowing up in the Home Depot.
Unbelievable.
It was very good.
Very good.
I thought that was relevant.
Nice lead in here because I think there could be some interesting discussion here.
Yeah.
That's everything?
That's everything.
All right. Let's take a break. Here's the trailer for 2024's Red One.
What if everything you knew about Christmas was much different than you expected?
He's a beast.
The guy is a beast.
Thanks for the escort, fellas.
Grab a car. How did I adjusted it to reality? You don't have a Wonder Woman action figure, do you?
Not how it works.
That was so disturbing. Red One, rated PG-13, only in theaters November 15th.
Red One from 2024, directed by Jake Kasdan, who directed Jumanji, Welcome to the Jungle. It's produced by Dwayne Johnson, Jake Kasdan, Chris Morgan, Danny Garcia, who produced Rampage, Hiram Garcia, who produced Hobbs and Shaw, and Melvin Ma, who produced Sex Tape. The story is by Hiram Garcia, and the screenplay is by Chris Morgan, who wrote Shazam! Fury of the Gods. It stars Dwayne Johnson as Callum Drift, Chris Evans as Jack O'Malley, J.K. Simmons as Nick, Lucy Liu as Zoe. The budget, according to what I've read, $350 million.
Fuck.
Now, I can't be 100% sure, but it's somewhere in that range, 250, 350. That's what's been bandied around. And currently, box office-wise, 167 worldwide. Now, the film was set to be released nearly 2 years after wrapping in February of 2023. The extended production schedule was predominantly the result of Dwayne Johnson's erratic behaviour during filming, more specifically his constant absence from the set. Reports from insiders claim that Johnson would often be 8 hours late, causing delays that necessitated additional rounds of shooting as well as a budget increase of $50 million, which also had resulting complications for post-production. Curiously, Johnson had previously called out his Fate of the Furious co-star Vin Diesel for unnecessarily delaying the shoot by refusing to show up on time.
Funny that.
Yeah. Perhaps.
Maybe Vin was in the toilet, Dwayne. Possibly.
Yeah. Last time, you know what? I'm on Vin's side because last time I checked, he didn't shit in his hands and handed it to me.
Shit in the lunchbox and handed it to his PA or something.
Like, fuck. Come on, mate. No, you know what? I said this to my wife because I mentioned this to her. I read this out to her. And I said, how can you not turn up on time? It's a fucking job, just like anyone else.
Yeah.
Like, we work 8 to 4. Now, if I don't
if I don't turn up, or if I turn up 8 hours late, everyone at the office is going home.
Exactly. And people go, where the fuck were you? You're taking that as leave.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But I guess when you're running the show,
yes,
which essentially he is.
Because his production company is getting these, like, actually making these films.
Yeah.
He just does whatever the fuck he wants.
Yeah. Well, I don't think that's all of it. I think there's probably the fact that he's got so many fucking irons in the fire now that he's...
You got to stop, though. You've got to realise that when you're on a movie set, that's your job.
That's number one. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that's
Everything
right.
else can take a back seat for a couple of months, can't it?
Yeah. And that's the thing, right? Like, just be professional.
Yeah.
You know, I understand it. It's
He
a
reckons
business
it wasn't that. And Chris Evans kind of backed him up saying, well, you know, that wasn't the case.
Well, it doesn't sound... I mean, 8 hours sounds like...
That's fucking ridiculous. I reckon
ridiculous.
If he was late, it's a few hours.
And you would have other people saying, come on. Like, you would have other people coming out in public saying this was bullshit.
But
like what he did on the movie was bullshit. That's what, you know, as I said, the guy that wrote
the slipper into Vin.
But the guy that wrote that article, I've read some of his stuff before, and I don't know... I mean, he has a tendency to kind
probably
of...
embellish things.
Embellish, yeah.
I'm thinking he's a couple of hours late.
He's probably a couple of
right?
hours late. Yes.
But also, Dwayne, if you're going to make a fucking big song and dance about Vin Diesel, then don't turn up late.
You better be doing it bang on.
Yes.
You know,
don't turn up late, mate.
Yeah.
Because that makes you look like a fucking idiot. Right? Because Vin could easily just fire back with, oh, I see. So you don't turn up on time either.
Yeah. But that also might have been a dispute over points. Who was leading on points at the time?
But I landed this many punches. Fucking dickheads.
Come on, boys.
It's movie making.
It's pretend.
Fuck me.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, red one, Jared. Look, nowhere near as bad as I thought it was going to be.
Yep.
I thought it was going to be fucking nigh unwatchable.
Yep.
And at 2 hours and 5 minutes, my sphincter was tight because I was like, this sounds awfully long. It's got some moments that are okay in the early going. The mythology and world building is reasonably good. There's an action sequence early on when Santa is kidnapped that is good. It's exciting and things are happening. Okay, maybe I was easy fucking swayed.
Yeah, fucking oath.
But once we get Chris Evans involved, things really start to slow and then basically they stop. Like, it's very... Not much kind of happens.
No.
We just sort of go from, like, this to that to this, and then in those bits, nothing's happening either.
Yeah, I heard they review described the second act as fucking endless.
That's pretty fucking... They also don't know what they want it to be. It's too dark for kids. It's not dark enough for adults. It's action comedy, but they do neither of them well. It's just this mood. It's just there.
Yeah, yep.
And it's just overall not worth $350 million or weeing in a bottle and giving it to someone. 2 out of 5.
Yep. Yeah, I landed exactly where you did. Funnily enough, I think I'm flipped. I thought all the action and stuff was very, very low level. I agree there was an element of the world building where I thought, okay, well, this is going to be all right. It didn't. It's just one of these movies that puts a few things on the table and doesn't come through with any of them. I thought some of the characters in the world and things like that, okay, well, we can spend a bit of time with, or some of the ideas we can have a bit of fun with, and we just didn't. It's funny that you mentioned too, like, they don't know who it's for. Like, I think a few of those darker bits play perfectly like one of those old sort of 80s kids movies where there was a bit of stuff in there that was pushing the boundary a little bit. But yeah, there's just, it's everything about it's forgettable in the end. Like the cast, I thought the cast was actually really strong, including The Rock in the right role. I like The Rock.
Yeah.
So the cast across the board was pretty strong. What they got to do, again, bit of an issue there. But it's just like, you know, when you talk about who is it for, I think maybe, I think back to...
I think it's for The Rock.
Well, I think it is. I think back to Dear Santa as well.
Yeah.
And I look at that and I'm like, we ended up with a PG movie here when fucking go a bit crude, a bit crass, have a few laughs in some of this. Because the only crassness you get, other than the fucking whole idea of making the movie, is kind of, you know, The Rock swearing a couple of times.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, that's all we're going to go for. Like, push a couple of those boundaries for a few laughs. Like,
take a bad Santa approach.
Yeah, do something like that. Get a few laughs in there somewhere. Because as it stands, they go for like the buddy sort of vibe.
Yeah.
But that results in, I don't think I laughed once at any of the banter.
None of that
those
works
two.
at all.
So, yeah, all in all, I went for a 2 as well. It was light enough. There was a couple of moments where I'm like, oh, this story could work. This world could work. But all in all, it just ends very forgettably. So
instantly forgettable.
2 is fair.
Yeah.
2 is fair.
Yeah.
I mean, I wasn't at red notice levels of like,
I hate this movie so much.
I hate this movie and I'm angry.
I hate filmmaking.
I was trying to watch it with the view of, I've been harsh on the man, but I really don't want to be. I like to be positive about things.
Yeah.
As much as I'm fucking saying.
Unfortunately, I might get a little harsh on him.
Yeah, but
the likes.
Yeah, not great.
I like the idea of the Santa with the security detail, the North Pole kind of being this like, I don't know, city that had a little bit of everything everywhere.
Yep.
You know, it had its own sort of police force type of thing and that type of stuff. I kind of like that. I like the fact that Santa was Jack.
Kernel of an idea.
You know?
Yeah.
And he's working out and shit like that. I liked some of that because it's not normal Santa material.
I'm surprised he wasn't wearing Project Rock gear, though.
Yeah, I was a bit surprised. I'm surprised The Rock wasn't working out with him.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
I did like those things because they were slightly different to what you would get.
And if your story is going to be this, which is something we've seen countless times, you know, Christmas is in peril for some reason because Santa's is out of action for some reason. There's someone who's lost their fucking Christmas spirit.
Yeah.
I mean, we've seen that shit countless times.
Yeah.
So the fun of it is going to be in, okay, well, what does your Christmas and Santa and everything look like? So, yeah, I agree that they hit on a couple of things there that could have worked pretty well.
But there's too much mythology. That's one of the things that I'll get to later. They start to overdo it. Oh, look, I like the opening action scene. I thought it was okay.
No.
It was shot reasonably well. There was some stuff happening.
Jesus. Normally I don't disagree strongly with things that you say, Adam. That was shit.
I kind of got something out of it. I don't know why.
It was fucking CGI. It was green screen mess.
That's one thing I will say in the dislikes as well, relates to the CGI.
Yeah, I'll get to. I'll let you have your say, and then I'll
I thought it was reasonably well done.
Nah, it was bullshit.
Maybe it was just because I was in a fuzzy mood because the mythology was working for me. I was pretty excited. We just seen Buff Santa.
You're sitting there going, Santa's Jack.
Santa's Jack. Look at you. I like the Headless Horseman cameo.
Yeah,
I thought that was kind of cool.
That was good.
Yeah, we're fucking shaking down all the usual suspects.
But again, Adam, they mentioned Bigfoot. Fucking bring him along. Bring a Yeti into the North Pole.
I'm going to say this. It's because he doesn't exist. Fucking hell, you can't. He does not exist. You won't even put him in a mythological place.
Yeah, okay. Well, they had a polar bear, so I guess that's been misidentified.
Yeah, but I did like that cameo. I thought that was kind of amusing. That they were kind of rustling up and fucking shaking down every shit person to see if they'd been involved, and there's the headless horseman and stuff.
Yeah.
But that was kind of cool. Look, I had a very much a large dislike for this scene in general, but I actually didn't mind the design and the idea of the snowmen. I thought they kind of looked interesting. I liked the idea with the big swords and shit.
The premise was okay. And especially, look, here's another example of why did you show him in the trailer? Because the way that it starts is like if we didn't know what was coming out of there, that opening with the ice cream van just coming out of the sea.
That would have been all right.
That was kind of cool. And with the kind of quirky kind of
version of the jingle, yeah.
No, I agree. I
thought they looked kind of interesting. They were kind of like snowmen, but they were kind of mangled. Yeah, and their faces were mangled and shit, and they were muscly and they had those big swords, like they were swords made out of hardened ice.
Once they came onto the scene, I was just like, it was another one where it's not a bad idea that just doesn't quite.
But yeah, I had problems with the scene entirely.
Yep.
Once it starts happening.
Yep. I think you've mentioned it sort of in passing, sort of fleetingly. I thought the cast in general was packed with really solid players.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Like, I don't think I've ever not liked J.K. Simmons in anything.
The Rock,
he's a perfect
J.K. Simmons, Chris Evans.
Kiernan Shipka.
Yeah,
I'm starting to really
really
like
good.
her as an actress.
Yes, I like her as an actress.
And
then you had people like Bonnie Hunt in the background.
Yeah.
You had
the fella that plays Krampus I think his name's Christopher Hivju or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
He was a bit of a scene stealer in Game of Thrones, and I thought, fuck, that's great casting too.
Yeah. Look, the acting is certainly not one of its issues.
No,
you know,
you got good players on board.
Well, you got pros who know what they're doing.
Yes, Lucy Liu as well.
Lucy Liu, yeah.
I mentioned Lucy Liu.
And they fulfil their roles.
Yes,
well enough.
Yep.
And the last thing I had, maybe you've got a few more.
Yeah, I got a couple.
But the idea of and fuck, I don't know, this is stretching. I'm reaching a little here, Jared. The idea that they didn't leave the North Pole and they were still there and they'd kept Santa there and they were in the caverns or whatever underneath.
Yeah.
And they were shapeshifters, so they were faking, again,
we've seen it before, but
it was good enough to sort of have me going, okay, that's all right. That's not a bad idea.
It was fine. Yep.
Reaching.
Okay, I've got a couple. Again, classic Christmas staple sort of stuff, but the sentiment about people just in general being jerks.
Yeah.
And seeing a couple of scenes in the shopping malls where people are just doing what people seem to do these days.
And I did like the idea of the naughty list being longer than the nice list.
We're up year on year.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's cool. That's the the language that he's using fits that world
but
that they're sort of building.
The truth too.
Well,
probably.
exactly. And Drift becoming disillusioned.
Yeah.
It's pretty standard, but again, it was relatable.
Yes.
Unfortunately, it falls flat when you fucking start to remember that Amazon makes a movie and thrives on that sort of shit.
Yeah, exactly.
And The Rock playing the guy that's disillusioned with people that are consumed with money and things, and then getting paid $60 million to do this movie.
And shilling everything he can put his fucking face on.
So, it's sort of...
it kind of doesn't hold firm.
Mixed feelings, sweet and sour feelings coming back from...
I think that's fair.
Yeah. And by a similar token, I sort of liked... This was another kernel of an idea where I'm like, this is what you need to really dig into the world building and get some fucking fun out of. The idea that, the toy stores are the portals that they get around.
Yeah.
It's a good idea. Again, starts to fall flat when you think, well, Amazon and similar retailers are killing toy stores. They don't have as many.
These fucking idiots didn't read this.
It would have been funny if they tried to get to Germany, but they're like, the closest we can get's an hour away because all the toy stores are fucking closed thanks to online retailers. So.
These fucking bozos didn't even read this. They didn't even how hypocritical it looks.
Yeah.
in the cold light of day.
But yeah, that's the sort of stuff where I think we could have got a bit more out of. The same with his ability to sort of take the toys and turn them into real world stuff. Another one that you fucking didn't use to the full extent.
No.
I mean, we're looking for laughs. He tells Chris Evans to pick a practical vehicle. The vehicle's still pretty practical, isn't it? It's fast.
A fucking Mini would have been better.
I mean, have you seen Hot Wheels lately?
Yeah.
They got some fucking really crazy sort of designs and shit like that. It would have been much funnier if you got one of those fucking quirky little cars and the Rock couldn't fit into it or something like that. And like that's one of those things where it just every time they had one of these things where I'm like, well, this is cool. This is what we can work with. It just never really played out. Same deal with the Rock'em Sock'em robots.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, okay, well, we're going to use them. When they deployed it, I'm like, cool.
Yeah.
Is there any other toys, famous toys, that we could get the license? I'm sure you could fucking cut some deals to include more fun scenes.
You could use less of that money for budget.
And he fucking, he takes the Monopoly.
Yes.
I can't recall them using it.
No, they didn't.
They didn't use it.
No.
So I feel like there should have been much more of that. Especially in scenes with like the snowmen and things. Like this is where you take this simple premise and this forgettable
especially in scenes
stuff.
where nothing was fucking happening.
Yeah.
Like you could have thrown some of that shit in just to liven it up.
Yeah. I mean, you find the fucking stack of presents and you rip something open and you're like, fuck, we got this. How do we fucking use this?
Yeah.
Like,
That would have been cool.
Yeah, this is where I just felt like there was a couple of missed opportunities there.
Yes.
But positive in the fact that they brought this up because that's where you got to find it. If your story is pretty down the line, well, how are we going to remember the movie? We're going to remember it with, I remember that scene when he did this. I remember that character that ripped out this really funny line, and unfortunately, they never get it to that level.
Yeah, agreed. Anything else for you on positive angles?
I know you're going to disagree, but given that I firmly disagreed with one of yours, you feel free to volley back over the net here.
Yeah.
I thought the Krampus inclusion was good. I know you feel like this is where
it stopped dead. The entire movie stopped dead.
Well, see, this is I've had this.
For me, I was looking everywhere else.
No, see, this is where
so boring.
When they start to bring the mythology, Krampus is one that we start to know a little bit about. Like everyone's trying to use Krampus, so to spin it that no, it's not actually. Usually it's no, Santa Claus doesn't exist. It's actually Krampus. This one was like no, they're brothers.
They're brothers.
Okay, cool. I like that.
Had they have had that I may not have been as down on it. Had they have tightened things up at the earlier part, so it came a bit earlier.
So the thing for me is I like the actor, and I think he does well with the limited that he's given. He's trying to sort of bring a bit of punch to the performance.
Fine.
And it's one of the few times where I did briefly. There was a crease across my face. I don't think I got to a chuckle, but there was one that one scene. I thought at least, we're having a bit of fun with this.
Yeah.
Like, again, it didn't get where I was hoping it would get to. We didn't get as much laughs out of it as I thought we would, but so I'm probably reaching a little too. But I really like that actor. I think I'll give him the kudos for fucking strutting around in those prosthetics and getting the best out of it that he could. I think.
Okay, I'll let that stay. Anything else?
That was it.
All right, into the dislikes. As I said before, it doesn't know what it wants to be. It just seems to want to sort of a little of this, a little of that, a splash of this. Supposedly we're going to be comedic, but we're not really good at it. We're going to be an action film, but we're not good at that either. I don't know what they were trying to achieve.
No.
And at no point did they achieve anything where I was like, well, okay, I know what the tone is. I know where the tone's going.
Yeah.
Because it never found it.
It was supposed to be a light comedic affair.
Yeah.
But it was never funny.
Yeah, exactly.
So
even the Chris Evans thing, and this segues straight into one of my other dislikes, is Chris Evans is instantly the most unlikable motherfucker on earth when you see him.
All because of one moment on Christmas Eve, Adam.
I know, it's so fucking stupid, but it's also like he's such an asshole that I can't even buy him making the right choice at the end.
No. I feel like it's the definition of unearned.
Yeah. It's like I hated the guy so much that I was like, well, this will all come back around and he'll have to do something for someone else.
Mm.
And I'm like, but I don't believe that.
No.
Like his performance in that opening couple of minutes, he gets better, I think, Evans. He slips into it a bit better.
There's the one scene where he gets blasted for not being at the kids' show, and then he has to sit there and, he starts talking to The Rock about it. Oh, he's got a great stepdad. I feel like I'm hurting him if I'm there and all this sort of stuff. And it's like, why didn't you show us that? You showed a little bit of the mum and you showed him having to pick him up. And why didn't you show us a little hint of him wanting to do the right thing? Yeah,
that's right. So he was such a fucking asshole in that opening sequence where we see him doing what he's doing. I just was like, I cannot cop this.
Yeah.
Because he will turn it around and it'll just be the most fucking, I won't be able to cop that. Yeah. And I couldn't. When it got there, I just couldn't.
Yep. I think I said it, kind of alluded to it in the likes, but the setup is it's just sort of paint by numbers for Christmas stuff.
Mm.
And, we spoke about the things that we liked that could have worked out really well, but unfortunately just by the end of it, none of it really works.
No.
So everything about the movie is just sort of forgettable. Even the parts that you like are just sort of, I'm sort of struggling to remember particular lines and things like.
They add a lot more mythology on top of some of the good stuff and they kind of just drowned it.
Yeah, but even the mythology, like, here's where I'll get to why I didn't like the action scene, because it's tied up in this.
Mm.
We get to the North Pole and we see a bit of it. We see that there's this fucking, like a city, like as you said. We never see any of it.
Mm.
All we see is The Rock wander down to the original cottage, original, which seems to be Santa's workshop in the traditional kind of sense, which is cool. Okay, well, how do we get here? At least show him walking down the street or something. But all we see is stuff in the background, and then that's a similar issue to the action scene.
Yeah,
you don't see anything. You just see him on a fucking slide. I get we're committing to this look of that it's snowing, it's a bit dark, but it just makes what you see around just look like a grey fucking sludge.
Yeah, and we also keep zooming in on him.
Yeah.
And it looks clear green screen.
Oh, it's clearly all green screen and it's all... I mean, just that chase was just so uninspired. It's like, we've got to have a chase.
Yeah.
So what do? Oh, we look at The Rock sliding down a fucking... slide for 5 minutes.
Yeah, I'll cop that. I didn't actually think about it that way. I just sort of went for, well, something's happening.
Oh, you're still thinking, look at Santa's fucking, look at
his guns. He's clearly been eating fucking steak for
he's
breakfast.
On the protein.
Definitely. Yeah, let's hope he's not on the fiver, Jared.
Is he a bulky face?
I don't know. Let's hope he's not on the fiver.
Take it on the fiver too, Santa. It's a recipe for disaster. Especially if you're jamming a couple of snickerdoodles on top of it.
Yeah, that's a mistake.
So... That was, I guess, the core of what I didn't like about it. I'm not too down on CGI in general.
No.
Like, I know some people just absolutely hate it.
You have to have it here because that's the...
Yeah, you can't... It's going to be really difficult to do something like that, a massive city, without a lot of it being CGI.
Exactly.
But it was just that you couldn't see anything.
It didn't work for me.
Yeah.
Here's two things that I feel like, must be brought up. It's way too long. 2 hours 5. It needed to be a breezy 90.
It's breezy.
Breezy 95.
80 to 90.
Yeah, 95 at the most.
Yeah.
Fuck me.
Yeah.
There should be... Where are the editors out there going, no,
Dwayne,
we're going to cut this,
sucks.
mate.
We're going to cut. We don't need to spend 100 minutes of 120-minute runtime with your face on the screen. We can chop a little bit of this.
And you know what the biggest problem? The Rock, this is his laziest performance. He is barely invested at all.
It looks that way.
He looks disinterested. He looks late.
Yep.
He looks like he needs to pee.
And he looks like the writers have called him Callum Drift.
Who the fuck came up with that?
I mean, if that name's in the Fast and the Furious series, I'll chuckle.
I'll
be
chuckle
like,
because I know what drifting is.
Yeah, but why is his name Callum Drift?
It's
I
terrible.
don't think I've ever met anybody with a last name Drift.
No, it's terrible. But Johnson just looks
He looks disinterested.
really disinterested. He's phoning it in
But can I add on
and
top
playing
of
the
that,
same fucking character
Yeah.
that he's played 50 million times.
Can I add to, if we're supposed to be kind of breezy and comedic, I mean, he's delivering things. Part of it's the way that the thing is written, his character is written. But he's delivering things in a fashion that it almost doesn't allow them to come across as funny. Like his character is just so straight down the line, and I'm not sure that was the best call. Or if that's what you're doing, like, okay, I can understand that the guy's lost his fun in Christmas. He's got a serious job. I get it if we're starting there, but when we get to the buddy stuff, where do you find the comedy with that?
Yes.
I go back to something like, probably not prime example, but off the top of the head, something like Rush Hour, where Jackie Chan appears to be down the line. But then, halfway through the movie, he just cranks out War and starts fucking dancing on the street. And I'm like, where is this for Drift? Where do we get this?
Where does Drift loosen up?
Exactly.
Where does he find his fun again?
Yeah, because, there's prime example of the tediousness of the back and forth. Evans tells him, you're not fun. You're not fun, are you, Cal? That's a setup, isn't it? That's a setup for, okay, this is where we get the comedy. The comeback is, I'm fun. I won most fun gift rapper 183 years in a row. Talk about leaving me fucking stone-faced.
God.
Is that was supposed to be a fucking side splitter?
And it's like, you know what? It's funny because I could have seen Ryan Reynolds in the Evans role.
Oh, of course. Absolutely.
In fact, it looks like it might have even been, that's where we were initially going.
Yep.
With someone like Ryan Reynolds. Look, Evans is not a noted comedic actor either.
No.
So what you have is one not really a comedic actor, solid actor, Chris Evans. No, not going to knock him there. But he's not known for his comedy. And The Rock, who you need the right foil for The Rock.
But as I said, I watched him in Pain and Gain, and I just see, all right, well, get him loosening up, and we get a few of these fucking laughs like we did, because he's capable of that.
Exactly.
But it just seems like, as you said, the writing's not there to allow him to do it. He perhaps looks not interested in doing it. It's just so off, the dynamic between those two characters.
I guess I would say this, Jared, and I don't want to buy into scuttlebutt, okay, about his alleged 8-hour.
You're about to.
I like to muckrake, Jared, when I can get the opportunity. But if someone says to me, his behaviour was erratic, he was rocking up late, he was not invested, and I watch that performance, then I go yes.
Well,
I guess that sounds about right.
It doesn't scream. No, he's a guy that really was keen on being there.
Yeah. Because there's nothing in the performance, mate.
No.
Right, and he's been in many of these kind of, I guess you'd call them forgettable mid-tier films, where he's delivered better performances.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
Even shit like San Andreas and Rampage and fucking Skyscraper, they're shit movies. They're equally as shit as this.
Yeah.
But his performance is better.
But I look at, as I say, I look at Pain and Gain. Was there an opportunity in this movie to have him somewhere where he's fucking incredulous and gets upset and starts firing up and then has it all backfire on him and make him look like an idiot? Like, this is where Pain and Gain was really strong. He provided, and I mean, go to the mall again. Where he was pissed off at everyone at the mall.
You know what they missed out on too? They missed out on the fish out of water angle.
Exactly, but
because
that's what I mean.
We'd already seen him. He'd already was hanging around with normal humans.
Yeah. But you get him having to get Evans on board.
He has to run into some of these idiots.
He has to go back to the mall or something like that where he's fucking filthy. He hates it. And so you get those comedic anger.
Mileage could have come out of that.
Yeah, that's like, it's like they didn't even try.
No. And again, it feels like, was that not the angle that you wanted? Like, it's clearly not what you wanted to go, but I thought we were going for humour.
Yeah. It was very limited humour in there.
Unfortunately, the villain who I like as an actress, what did you say her name is?
Kim Shipka.
good actress, really good actress.
Yep.
But she's saddled with a very nothing villain that has no real presence.
Yep.
Which hurts.
Yes.
Badly.
And seems like her plan is sort of lifted from a hint of the Krampus movie.
Yeah, maybe.
There's a the sort of end of the Krampus movie kind of ends with something that sort of looks a little bit like what she's sort of planning on going for.
I mean,
like
it's such gobbledygook. I fucking didn't really know what was happening.
Yeah, I know. I thought it's like what you kind of said. The character's not menacing. It's not
her fault.
But
obviously.
she looks like there's a couple of scenes where she looks like she could be.
Yeah.
Where she's delivering some of the stuff and it's like the cold-hearted.
Yeah.
She can buy that. Unfortunately, old Nick Kroll, when he gets kind of possessed by her almost.
Yeah.
When they kept cutting back and forth, it was sort of...
Yeah. It would have been
like
better
he was trying to stretch a few laughs. She's trying to deliver it straight. Like,
I think it would have been better if she'd appeared. Not gone through him.
But again, that's not going to fix a myriad of issues
exactly.
were happening at this point.
There was a fucking sequence too involving Chris Evans where all those guys come looking for him with those like taser type of things.
Yeah.
He turns into fucking Jet Li.
I know, it was like
with absolutely no evidence that he could do anything like this.
It looked like the Bourne Identity or something like that. And not one of these cavalcade of blokes can get a single touch on him with this little thing. Looks like all they got to do is touch him.
They were trying to go slapstick.
Yeah.
The whole idea that he... No, but actually they should have gone slapstick. It's funny. There's a sequence
if you go on Jackie Chan, that's what he's great
at. There's a sequence in... And I don't know why this came to mind. There's a sequence in Jack Reacher, the movie, with Tom Cruise.
Yep.
Where he fights a couple of blokes in an apartment. And although it's not meant to be like it's not a humorous movie, Jack Reacher, the whole sequence is fucking played for almost like slapstickery as these dickheads belt each other.
Yep.
And I thought that's what you needed to go for. This kind of like he's fucking falling all over the place and just narrowly avoiding. And I think they were trying to go there.
Yeah.
But it just didn't work because all they ever did was had a bloke try and hit him with it, and then he would turn out of the way, and they'd hit another bloke.
Hit each other, yeah.
It's just like, but you've used this like 4 times.
Yeah.
Like, it was just like, God, guys, like, and there's no reason, like, in my opinion, Evans's character was meant to be like a buffoon. He was an idiot.
Yeah, but that doesn't work if he's a fucking computer genius.
No, but he's a computer genius, but as a socially, he was an idiot.
Socially, but I mean, and that happens a couple of times. Like, when he blurts out the name of the witch after they're like, don't say the name, don't say the name and all this sort of stuff. And then he immediately kind of just blurts out the name. I'm like, is that the best we can get?
And then we follow that up with the exact same thing when we go and see Krampus.
It works better later on when he sort of just drops the name out, when he's kind of just says, what's she up to? And says the name.
Yeah, that works nicely.
Like, okay, well, that works better than him just on that one. But yeah.
But the Krampus one, that again, the definition of comedy for you guys is don't touch anything and don't fucking, don't touch anything. And then what does he do? Immediately gets in there and picks up some fucking coins. And it's like, and then what are we supposed to laugh at this?
Yeah.
Because it's not funny.
Yeah. And I think it's like what we've said a couple of times. It seems to come back with how they're placing the two characters.
Yeah.
And the fact that neither of them have got any depth or any...
Yeah.
It just doesn't... It
doesn't really go anywhere from there.
Like, it's just, I also, like I mentioned it before, but after I watched it, I was really down on the fact that we didn't get more of the toys. We didn't use more of the toys.
Yep.
Use that ability, use that. I just feel like this is exactly what you should be using.
You dropped the ball big time there.
Yeah.
Because that could have been... Every action sequence could have involved some toy that we used to sort of jack it up.
Yeah.
And we needed to then work out how the fuck we're going to use it.
I said, cheap comedy. Is fucking get the wrong car and have, The Rock looking like fucking Donkey Kong in Mario Kart when he can't squeeze into the car and shit or something. Start with that. So work, spitball some ideas with some funny people.
But yet our idea of comedy is pick a car that's, practical, and we pick a sports car.
Yeah. And the tone, when he sneaks back in there and he's like, you don't have to have a Wonder Woman toy. I mean, that's a smutty gag, and it's not even that funny, but it's kind of like, again, what are you going for here?
Yeah, exactly. You've avoided smut in all other aspects, but then you throw that in there. I don't really know why. Like, it's not a gag that was funny enough to be kept. Like, I would have just cut it entirely. But that entire fight with those guys from the Death Squad, where he can shrink and do all that, that was a debacle. Like,
that's where,
the idea may have been okay.
But why?
It's just the way it was done, and I was just like,
and there's not an explanation.
Punch-up.
There's not an explanation for the shrinking already. I think I read into it. Okay, well, he helps Santa. He fucking shrinks to go down chimneys or whatever it is.
Yeah.
But in the run of it, it's just kind of like, what's he doing? You could have got more. Again, surely you can get something funny going with his abilities there somewhere. Like.
But also, the entire fight sequence just looked ridiculous.
Yeah.
Because we had to keep shrinking him down, then showing him running between their legs and stuff. It was just so fucking lame. Like, honestly, like, if you look at that and you say, fuck, let's just have Dwayne have it out with these guys, scrapping on, and Evans is getting his ass kicked.
Yeah.
And that's where some comedy can come into play.
Or, there's a scene where Evans gets control of fucking some of the powers that they have, but I think the issue there seemed to be the shrinking. It's like,
what are we doing?
Why are we thinking this is going to carry us,
fellas? Come on,
fellas.
God almighty! I would like to have been in the fucking meetings for this.
Yeah.
Was there a dissenting voice going, "What the fuck are you doing here?
Come on, hire him." Pipe down, buddy.
Hiram, could you just leave?
What have you written before? Let's leave it to the fucking writer's room. No, you're not in the writer's room. Leave.
Exactly. Again, the same thing with the snowmen. They looked kind of interesting, and I'm with you. If we'd never seen them in the trailer, that whole thing with the ice cream truck turning up would have kind of been okay. But also, doesn't fucking ice melt in the sun?
Well,
for starters,
it's magic ice, Adam.
Oh, fuck me. Thanks for telling me. Like, there's absolutely no fucking information as to what these things are.
No.
And then the fight is, again, super lame.
Yeah.
It's just shot in a really poor way.
Yep.
There's a couple... I will give one little piece where the ice guy hits the pool and it chases Evans out of it.
Yeah.
And he kind of leaps out and he gets his foot caught and then it comes over the pool towards him. I thought that was kind of at least an interesting way to kind of trap him. But the whole sequence is just fucked. It is. It's just like, well, you guys... Like, Jake Kasdan, Jumanji had some good action stuff.
Yeah.
It's like he's just forgot. Or, again, he probably couldn't give a fuck because he realised... This is $350 million and no one's going to care if it's a hit or not.
Yeah.
I'll just move on to the next thing.
Yep. But this is like, I don't know, we've spoken about, producers and notes before and all that sort of stuff and how it doesn't always result in the best work. But when you've got producers that know what they're doing and are invested, they can help to tighten shit up, right? If you've got a producer who's just collecting the coin and is just there because he's related to...
I think you are 100% correct. You need producers that have clout and the ability
and have some idea about storytelling.
But the ability to tell Dwayne too, it's not going to go like that, mate.
We need Johnny Peters on set to start kicking things over and saying, where's my fucking giant spider?
And getting people in headlocks and shit like that.
Imagine him rocking up and getting the rock in a headlock.
I know. No, you know what you need? You know what you actually needed? Someone like a Jerry Bruckheimer or someone like that, who can tell him, listen, Dwayne, in a nice, level manner, that's not happening, mate.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you know why? Why that's not happening, Dwayne? Because I'm not going to let it happen.
We've spoken about this for years. I think with this conversation between you and I kind of started to come together around Black Adam, where I felt like I don't think this is ever going to happen again with The Rock because he's got too much. You've got no control over him because he's running the production. He's running the show.
So you can't.
And he thinks this is good.
Yeah.
He's demonstrated with Red Notice, Red One, movies prior to that he thinks this stuff is good. or
Yeah.
this is good enough to release. And the public's telling him, yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
Because we're fucking all watching it and we're... shit. I don't
It's
know.
one of the problems is he has too much pull
Mm.
and he has nobody telling him no and he has nobody... You can't control him. So that the production, like the studio, has no one to go in there and say, go into bat for them.
Yeah.
Right? Now, I'm not saying that studios aren't fucking also bad at this because, I mean, Christ, have a look at David Zaslav and his fucking shit fight that he's produced. But
That's the same. Putting someone with the power that doesn't seem to
know what to do.
I mean,
with
he's
it or
obviously
how to
got a
handle it.
skill set. You don't get to that level without being good at something. But movies doesn't seem to be what he's good
Well,
at.
I mean, fuck, hang on a second, Jared. I mean, John Peters used to be a hairdresser.
I know.
I mean, this is Hollywood's got known for this
But
kind of shit too.
Zaslav wasn't a money man, wasn't a
No.
producer. Like
No,
he went through
was
the
a-
ranks of like executive ranks of companies.
Yes. So
And
he
had
has
a track
skill set in
record
business.
had a
yes.
track record of turning businesses around money.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, but it sounds like he just doesn't know what he's doing with movies. And
Yes. So one of the things is you have no control over the production if you're the studio.
Yeah.
Because the guy that you're talking to is the guy who's in it. Because he's the producer.
Yep.
He runs the production company that you've got fucking hooked up to here.
So he makes a joke about being the most fun Christmas rapper 183 years in a row, and no one goes, can I have that script? Scribble, scribble, scribble.
And
Get that out
what
of
you usually find with someone like your Jerry Bruckheimers and that is they're heavily involved in script development. So they've got the fucking script writer by the testicles as well.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So it means that The Rock can't go over his head and go to the screenwriter and say, let's just do it this way. Because the producer's already on top of that. So
Yeah.
one of the problems here is you just have The Rock in too many facets of the production. And you've also got him rocking up late and not giving a shit.
Yep.
So it's a fucking recipe for just disaster. And it is, unfortunately, a disaster.
Yeah, I would say so.
What else you got? Anything else?
No, that was
I
it.
think I got
I'd
one
switched
more
off by
here.
that
Yeah,
point,
I
I
know.
think.
I was in fucking Struggle Town by then. Just the finale is just a fucking... Just a mess of CGI
Well,
and
it's
creatures
just- yeah,
and
again,
fucking witches and stuff.
Similar issues to the initial chase scene, I thought. Like, it just looks murky and...
And it's just like, this is nothing that anybody really wanted to finish on high. This is not how you finish on a high, Jared.
No.
You
And
don't
I
just
mean,
fucking drench it in CGI.
even that last scene, I even got a hint that A.K. Simmons was just sleepwalking by the end of it.
know.
Like,
But that poor bastard is barely seen.
yeah,
He's in maybe 3 or 4 scenes, I think,
yeah.
total. I mean, you get the guy and you use him, don't you?
Oh, for sure.
You get him and you use him. So you need to come up with something better than what they did. Even if that meant he tries an escape attempt at his end. Do you know what I mean?
Something.
So you got him on the move. He's trying to fucking sort his way out, you know. Or play him for some humour. I don't know. You fucking didn't do any of that. Jesus.
Nothing.
Yeah,
Nothing.
I've got nothing more. That was garbage. Do you think that's the worst Rock film we've seen, apart from Red Notice?
No. Well, apart from Red Notice, it would be pretty close. Because it's just coming around to... Like, it just screams that we don't really care. We don't really care what we're chucking on screen.
Yeah.
It's just like I can't see anyone that got into the film industry wanting to make really good movies, including The Rock, and watching this and going, yeah.
Nailed it.
Yeah, job well done,
Yeah,
fellas.
well done,
job well
guys.
done, people. This is
Perfect.
magnificent. I can't imagine anyone in there watching it and doing anything other than putting their fucking head in their hands, going, oh,
I think, Jared, this is a product of just the mass amount of film that's out there.
yeah,
There is so much stuff. There's so many films being made. There's so many TV shows being made because there's so many streaming services. And the quality is just at an all-time low,
yeah,
I reckon. We are at the fucking lowest ebb of some of this stuff is just... And this is not the worst,
no,
but it's just it's a beacon for this shit. Like, it just showcases just how bad some of this stuff can get and how much money's being wasted, basically. Because the money being wasted here is just astronomical.
Oh, for sure.
This,
we spoke about this. Like, it's really hard to. I mean, you described the people talking about this as dribbling shit, but the Amazon people that are saying it's going to be a success, even though everything we see says when you include the cinema numbers, it's $200 million short of the budget, not even the marketing.
Yeah.
So, what's your measure of success?
How
and
do
then
we
me
make
and you
this
had a
up?
conversation of how do you attribute subscribers to the movie? Like, how do you know how much money? And then is it just subscribing, or is it that person then purchasing things on Amazon and whatnot? And Amazon then has a different metric to success to Netflix and all the others. But we just don't know what it is, and we don't know the numbers. They're all in-house. And so they're going to spin it however they want. But surely someone's looking at this going, this is a fucking disaster.
It has to be. If the budget is to be believed at $350, so your marketing, what did you say it was? 2.5?
I think they sort of say 2.5. You
That's
need to
on
make back
box office
2.5.
dollars. But let's say
It's
2.
a big movie, 2.5.
Let's say 2. Okay?
Okay.
Taking into account that this is not all box office.
And
numbers.
let's say 2, and let's use the 250 million
Yes,
to be
okay.
generous.
500 you need to get.
Yeah.
500 is your break-even point.
You're 350 short of that, currently.
350. So you're saying, Amazon is saying it's a success, which means we have managed to get 350 million
Yeah.
in subscribers and purchase.
But how do we know that? This is the thing. I want
Exactly.
to know a
We
little
don't
more
know
about
that.
how you know that.
So if we go,
How can you attribute a subscriber to Red One? How many people do you think saw this movie and raced straight to their computer and said, I've got to get a Prime subscription so I can watch more of this shit? Like,
Nobody, Jared. Nobody.
I think it's like partially that, partially
Business-
the people signing up to
business
watch
to-
sign up just to watch the movie.
Okay. So let's not even say
If you
that
watch
it's
the movie,
attributed
did you
directly
cancel
to them.
immediately?
Let's be generous. We're being generous here, Jared.
Yeah.
So we're saying 500. So you're 350 short at the box office. Let's be even more generous and say that it's not direct. It's not subscriptions directly because of the movie. It's just subscriptions that occurred from the moment Red One went on to fucking Amazon Prime. There is no fucking way that there's $350 million worth of subscribers.
Were you talking globally?
No.
Well, this is the thing.
It couldn't
is
be.
that what they're talking?
Yeah. Well, if that's what they're talking, that's
I need
total
metrics,
fucking bullshit.
Amazon. Give me some fucking numbers.
Okay. So
to
if it's not just subscribers, if it's sales at Amazon, then maybe you're more in the ballpark.
Oh, fuck. Amazon would fucking make 350 million in about 2 minutes.
Exactly. So you're more in the ballpark, but once again, you cannot attribute it directly to Red One.
Yeah,
can't.
I nearly cancelled after watching
So
it.
in no way can you say, oh, that subscriber and those dollars that were spent at Amazon are attributed to the fact that Red One is on our service.
Yeah.
That's
I don't know.
impossible
I don't know how
to
this
do.
works out.
So in my opinion, it's just a bunch of fucking spin doctoring crap.
Yeah. I mean,
And they can get away with it because no one looks. It's like saying that, we make fucking, we make $500 billion profit. Let's have a look at your books. Nah. No, you can't.
This is the thing. Like,
So you can just lie and tell them whatever the fuck you like.
That's. I mean, there's no denying that the landscape is different.
Yes.
Like, Netflix makes a movie and doesn't have to put it into a cinema, and it works for them somehow. Somehow it works. But I want to know why it works, and what just fucking give me a number. Just say, to be a success,
we need X number of subscribers.
X number of minutes viewed, or X number of subscribers month on month per however much we spend on this movie.
Yeah.
Like, give us an idea.
Because that's a simple formula.
Because, I mean, poor old David Zaslav, we know the figures. We know they can get creative with them. But when it's a disaster, he just has to come out and say, fuck, that was a disaster.
But this is the thing. They don't even have to get creative now.
No.
Because everything's just kept
No,
under
you just
this-
write it off. Don't release
there's
it. Get your tax
there's
break.
just this there's a veil of secrecy behind how they supposedly, and they sit up there and go, oh, but it's a success because of all this stuff. And they talk in this crap about
Yeah.
subscribers and all that stuff, but there's no metrics or no knowledge of how that's ratified.
Yeah.
So they can just hide it behind this secrecy of like how we do this.
And there's also, you know, when you think of some of these projects, like you'll have a movie that may fall short at the box office, but you know, how long does it hold value down the stretch anymore with streaming?
Well,
probably not as much as it did with video, but then you've got, you know, fucking merchandise everywhere. Like,
but we looked at Air
Yep.
a couple of weeks back. By all the accounts of what you're looking at, the financials, the budget, the budget, the marketing, the potential marketing
that
money,
was a modest 100 million.
the box office, and the potential subscribers, you can see how Air is a success. You can look at Air and say, yeah, you know what? They probably would have made that. We would have been able to attribute this many subscribers occurred after Air came on. It relates to this much money, which would have meant we met our targets.
Yep.
You cannot do that here. It's not possible because the fucking money's so big. There's no way to try and tell me that it's about this. We had this many subscribers that makes up $350 million.
It's getting as murky as the fucking backgrounds in this movie, Adam.
I think, you know what? It's a fucking fool's errand. Currently, it's just a fool's errand.
Yep.
So we'll get off that.
I don't know, like, even if this hit your targets, like, I don't know how you could watch this movie and say success.
I don't know how The Rock could safely pocket $60 million.
How can you look at yourself?
Yeah.
$60 million for a disinterested performance.
Exactly. How can you pocket $60 million and look at this and say, well, that I deserved it? Because nothing but...
Are you calling for a refund? Do you think Dwayne should take the
Dwayne
George
should
Clooney approach and anyone that rocks up and says, I watched Red One, he'll give you $20 on the spot?
Back. Yep. Fucking hell, I do want to meet Clooney one time and hit him up. Because allegedly he pays.
Yeah. I might actually say, listen, I
fucking loved it, but it was rubbish. And I need $20.
I'm going to say, look, I watched Batman and Robin, but I also purchased a figure which cost me $40.
So really, you're out. I'm out 60.
I need 100, George.
Yeah.
Just call it 100.
Come on, mate. I know you've got a few crisp ones in there.
I'll take a fucking Nespresso machine. Just give me some.
Whatever. No, the thing about what I'm saying about Johnson is $60 million was his reported.
Yep.
The amount of money he picked up. The performance is below par.
What would you costing? What would you if you had to attribute a dollar figure to the performance?
Look,
what are you giving?
It's not high.
$60.
Not high. Yeah, look, $60.
I'm paying scale.
Not only has he
for the time you were here,
has he not?
You're in the negatives because you're 8 hours late, so you're not even getting anything.
But not only has he not delivered much of a performance in, even in comparison to other performances of the same sort of shit.
Yep.
But he has brought nothing but negative publicity. Yeah. His behaviour and his on-set performance have brought nothing but negative publicity to it.
I reckon it's currently number 1 on the service. I wonder how long it'll last. But like,
to be expected.
I reckon this one might swing things back a little bit too. Like, if he wants to do another movie with Amazon, they're probably coming to the table saying, listen, you're not getting 60.
No.
And if you're going to be the boss, it's going to be some incentive-based thing. It's not just going to be you get this much, because that movie was rubbish.
Yeah. Agreed. All right, that was Red One. You can find us on iTunes, Spotify, Podomatic, and wherever else you get your podcasts. Send us an email at thrillme@iinet.net.au. We're on Facebook at Thrill Me Podcast Australia, Podomatic at thrillme.podomatic.com, and Instagram at thrillmepodcastau. Keep an eye on our Facebook page for details of the next film, but until then, take it easy, everyone, and we'll catch you later. Cheers.
Find the podcast at Podomatic or on iTunes. Don't forget to rate and review. Like us on Facebook at Thrill Me Podcast Australia, or contact us at thrillme, all one word, all lowercase, at iinet.net.au.